should have happened, and I will not make excuses for it. While I can't erase the past, I can commit on behalf of every Uber employee that we will learn from our mistakes. David Kennedy is with me, a cybersecurity expert and former NSA advisor. He has hacked into company sites to help them find security weaknesses. David, thank you so much for being on with me. And I bet every other person watching has taken an Uber at some point in his or her life, and you're thinking, wait, you were paying the criminals? I mean, how did this play out? Did the hackers demand the money, or do you think, did the company offer it?
You know, interesting enough, it's 57 million people. I'm an Uber, I use Uber as well. And what's interesting is this is becoming more and more of a practice where hackers will find security vulnerabilities or exposures, and they'll email the company and say, hey, we have all of this information, we have 57 million records, pay us or we're going to release it to the public, or we're going to give it to a bunch of other hackers that are going to use it for fraudulent terms. And this is becoming more of a practice for companies to actively just go and pay them because it's easier that way than having to deal with the damages. Now, most of them don't cover it up.
Hold on. Let me just underscore that. Paying them. I mean, isn't there a problem with companies negotiating with criminals?
This is becoming more common than you can imagine. Think of things like ransomware, for example, where your files get encrypted. Companies have been gotten hit, and it's completely taken them to their knees where they don't even have computer systems anymore. So they pay hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get their files back to people that are doing this and designing this software to actively go and do it because they can't protect themselves from it. So it's not good. In fact, if you look at what the FBI says, for ransomware specifically, if you can't get your files back, you probably should pay the ransom. So you're actually giving hackers, bad hackers, unethical hackers, what we call black hats, the ability to make substantial amounts of money for hacking into computer systems and holding companies ransom.
What falls on the company? Like, what's the legal or the moral authority for these companies to actually reveal that your or my personal information has been compromised?
There are laws in place to protect us when it comes to person identifiable information, what we call PII. And so the fact that they didn't report this, there is probably some legal cases to be seen for actually going after Uber for not releasing this type of data. This isn't good practice, and this doesn't look good for Uber because they covered it up. We expect breaches to happen. We expect, our credit card to get reissued because there's a big data breach. We expect around the holiday time frames that there's going to be inconveniences that happen, or we're going to get put under credit monitoring because a company got hacked. Hacking is part of what we do and what we deal with as far as technology goes. But the fact that they didn't tell anybody and they held it up, puts a lot of people at jeopardy and their personal information in jeopardy. And that's just wrong. That's not correct. That's not right. And there are probably legal implications for going and doing that. We haven't seen this large of a volume of paying out and hiding things before in the past. So it's going to be really interesting to see if there's new legislation that come out around punishing companies that do things like this.
Ramifications, consequences. David Kennedy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
He lived a life.